If you are like most women and you have spent your entire life being the quote unquote good girl, the good person, the one that keeps the peace, that always is working hard for what you want, putting other people first, pouring from yourself into other people, I want you to know that there is another way. There is a version of you who is grounded, who is magnetic, who is powerful and also allowed to be soft. And this version of you gets whatever the fuck you want. And it doesn't come by clawing your way through life or white knuckling it or chasing, but it comes from allowing and receiving. So, like the women that I work with, I am somebody that has I was going to say suffered at the hand of the patriarchy. Basically, women are taught, specifically women, men, it's a little bit different, but women are taught to be good girls, right? And even like saying that, I'm like, whoa, like I would never consider myself as like trying to be a good girl, but that's what it's called, right? And it's where you are following the rules. You are doing everything that you believe you are supposed to do, being easy to love, being, the best partner you can be, being the best parent you can be, being easy to work with, easy to be around, never stepping out of line. And when I say never, I mean most of the time, right? Like making ourselves shrinking to be as small as humanly possible and at the root of it, abandoning yourself, right? In the process, when you are, or when we are abandoning ourselves, you don't realize how dysregulated you become. And at some point, your nervous system will say, enough, like, we're not doing this anymore. And I know for me, there came a point where I was just like, I can't fucking pretend anymore. I can't continue to put myself last in a place where, I don't know that I want to say this, but it's like feeling like I was slowly dying from the inside out. And I believe that that happens because you abandon yourself so much, you get to this place where it's like soul crushing. Oftentimes, it takes getting to that point to realize what is happening and to start to remember who we actually are on a soul level and what we're here to do. And this is a time of awakening for a lot of women. So, what is the good girl, right? And I could go on for hours and hours about this, but for the sake of this video, the good girl is what society teaches us a woman should be, how we should, I don't want to say dress, but how we should dress, how we should act, how we should survive in the world, right? It's a coping mechanism. It's a like protection that most of us learn to wear to armor ourselves with in order to stay safe in the world. And what I know is it is very difficult to consciously create the life that you dream of while wearing this protective armor. So the good girl isn't wrong, she's protective. She was created to keep us safe in systems where our truth was punished or ignored. So most of us learned this very early in childhood. And it can seem almost daunting when it's like, okay, but I thought that's who I was as a, excuse me, who I was as a person. I thought that that's, I'm nice and I'm kind and I'm efficient. I do things, I make life easier for other people. I am a good wife. I am a good employee. I am good at all, it's like I'm overgiving, I'm performing, and I hope someone notices. I hope that someone sees me as valid as a result. And the problem is that this set of rules, I'm going to call them rules, were given to us as a way to be because this is safety. But what it actually is it keeps us from elevating to the levels that we're meant to be at. It keeps us from leadership positions. It keeps us from income goals that might make our partners feel inferior. It keeps us small and safe and deeply unhappy. And what happens is you spend your whole entire life following this set of rules, and then you wake up one morning and you're burnt out. You're probably highly addicted to, there's like wine moms or like sugar or whatever your drug of choice is. And it's just unhealthy. And when I say unhealthy, I don't mean like physically, I mean to your soul's purpose, to the whole fucking reason why you were born and what you're here for. And it's not to necessarily serve others, but to remember who the fuck you are, okay? And this is why I teach this, right? It's not about, oh, manifest $100,000 in 6 months. It's not about that. It's about this reclamation. It's about this remembering of who the fuck you are. And in that, you get to receive your desires because your desires are given to you for a purpose. Your desires are not just about you, yourself. It is about community. It is about leaving the world a better place. It is about more than just you and your desires. Also, your desires get to be selfish. So the woman who gets what she wants isn't necessarily louder or meaner or more demanding or like the opposite of good, like what we think of a good girl. It's not the opposite. She's anchored, she's grounded, she's has created safety in her own body. She trusts herself. She knows that while having seeking guidance from others can be helpful. Her own inner guidance is her strength, is the way, right? She knows how to say yes when she means yes. She knows how to say no when she means no. She doesn't have to chase what she wants. She doesn't have to earn or prove or search out validation, right? It's like this inner strength. It's this knowing. It is this trusting. I am safe. I am safe. I can trust myself. I can trust the wisdom that I hold within like my fucking DNA, right? And it can also feel, no, and it's not, it's like more than just feeling. It's this liberation that comes. And when a woman does this for herself, because it's like, I'm like starting to get, so like, wasn't expecting to go on this tangent. Um, so I'm also a medium, and so it's like, my grandmother's here and she's like, Ashley, tell them it's not just about them. Like it's not just about you as a woman. It's about liberating the women that came before us that didn't have the same opportunities as us. It is about, so like when you stand in your power, you are doing it for women that came before you that absolutely could not, right? Like, and what a gift it is to be in this place where we can. And, the political climate, and it's like all the shit that's happening, it's like she's like it's now more important than ever to have this reclamation, to have this remembering, and to she's like stop trying to be the good girl and be the great woman. Ooh, wow, I love that. Okay. So, how to shift this, right? Like very simply how to shift. These can feel impossible, and I get that. And the more that you do these things, the easier that they become, right? So one, um, stop over explaining. Stop over explaining. Your no, like when I first heard this, I was like, wow. I mean, this was decades ago. It's like no is a complete sentence, right? No is a complete sentence. You don't have to justify it. You don't have to explain. You don't have to, no. Hey, Ashley, can you do this? No, I can't. Ah, right? Like, what do you mean? I just get to say no? But stop over explaining. No. Hey, somebody said this thing about you. Okay. And like, doesn't make it true. You set boundaries without guilt. Ooh. So, setting boundaries, like you can just start with setting boundaries and like we can work through the guilt piece because if you're new to shifting these things, setting a boundary can feel it can feel like it's a lot, right? But understand that your peace, I don't want to say defending, but protecting your peace becomes the utmost of importance because when you can stay regulated and you do this through having boundaries, through protecting yourself in this way, where it's like, I know that this is what's right for me. I don't accept these things in my life. I only accept these other things in my life. You become I'm like, they're showing me a bunch of different things, but you just become so much more grounded and you learn to trust yourself on a deeper level because you know that no matter what happens, it's like this, oh, okay. I see. So they're showing like before, in the beginning, I was talking about how being the good girl is like this armor that protects us. But in reality, when you learn to have healthy boundaries and you learn to stand in them, it's not that it's a safety net, but it can feel that way when you're just learning to do this. And it's like, this is a silly example, but they're like, okay, I don't work on Sundays. No explanation, no guilt, no justification. This is just what feels true to me, right? So it's like, I don't work on Sundays. My boundary is I don't work on Sundays. And, you could be like having a client be like, hey, Sundays are my only day. And it's like, no, I don't work on Sundays. And the reason that you might have this boundary, this is such a silly example, but it can be helpful, is like, I don't work on Sundays. I have this boundary because I know myself and I know that if I don't have this boundary, I won't take a day off. Right? And so it's like you're learning how to trust yourself so that way you know that it's safe to have a day off. You know that it's safe to have a boundary. And it's a good way to practice not being the good girl, not being an overgiver, not being somebody that puts everybody else before yourself. What starts to happen is you start to attract differently. Love, money, resources, support all start to flow to you in ways that feel easeful and effortless and don't disrupt your like groundedness, right? It comes from a place of not having to beg for it, not having to work hard for it, or feel like you have to abandon yourself in order to receive what it is that you desire. The biggest piece here around receiving in this new way from a grounded, trusting, fully present, not abandoning yourself way is that you will be able to receive more and bigger than you have ever been able to before because it's not going to dysregulate you, right? So it's like you can receive a lump sum of money and not absolutely spiral. You can, decide that you're ready for love and start going on dates and not absolutely fucking spiral because all of these things can feel terrifying. When you start to really shift into the woman that is rooted and grounded and has so much self-trust and self-care and compassion and self-responsibility, life becomes easier, life becomes safer. And so we are fed this belief that we need to be in this place of good girl for safety. I mean, they don't like outright say that to us, but if you play the good girl, you'll be safe and you'll be taken care of and you'll be protected. But really and truly, the opposite is true when you are good to yourself, when you show up as who you authentically are with feelings and opinions and your own sense of self, you become magnetic to what it is that you actually desire. And you will be protected, you will be safe because it's like the energy is actually flowing to you and through you. So, if this has spoken to you, send me a message or leave a comment. I love to hear your thoughts, any questions that you have. You can also click the link in my bio to sign up for my newsletter. And I'm going to be putting together a masterclass coming up where we can go into this a lot more deeper and you can ask your individual questions around these things. And thanks for listening.